Good evening. It is Tuesday, August the 23rd, almost 8:15 p.m. This is meteorologist Shay Gibson bringing you a first official forecast for the Indigo Cup Race to Georgetown 2022, hosted by CORA. So we talked about last night in the preliminary forecast that there's going to be light winds at the start. It's questionable overnight, but I did talk about nocturnal jetting possibly building in, and that does look like it may happen after all. We'll get into those details in just a moment, but I do want to caution that there may still be a little bit of rain and storms in the area during the race time Friday afternoon. It looks like this frontal activity is starting to fizzle and weaken. This Gulf moisture isn't surging as much anymore. We may see some spats here and there. Looks like overall we have another cold front that's going to drop in. Let me go ahead and we'll quickly go to the website, the CORA website. This is where you would go for the calendar for home. Go to Indigo Cup Georgetown. It's not too late to register. And it looks like the B, C, and D fleet takeoff will be at 1600 hours, and then warning for A fleet will be at 1700 hours. So that's going to be the start times as far as now. As far as the race course is concerned, I'm sure we'll be talking tomorrow night at the skippers meeting. I'll be there in person to speak to every one of you directly about it and let Mark and those decide the course race and how it's going to go down. But I'm pretty optimistic about this, even though we've seen a poor forecast up until now. We are still only at Tuesday, so we still have some opportunity to see that forecast change. But let's go ahead and take a look at the surface map. So when we get this far out, it jumps 24 hours from Friday to Saturday. But you can see where we are. We're pinched between two fronts. By Friday morning, we see high pressure in the Appalachians nudging that cold front, that stagnant front off the coast, which is good. That lessens the chance for rains and storms today, but we do see inland troughing as outlined here on the map. That signifies still some moisture and instability over the area to watch out for those late afternoon, evening thunderstorms to flare up. So just cautioning there. It doesn't look like anything too severe. In fact, if we look at our storm outlook, nothing severe being called for Thursday, and I can't get any further than that. I think it's even less on Friday. So this SPC doesn't go out 4 and 5 days; it only goes out to day 3. That's the best I can do for right now. But either way, you can see the chances lessening. What I really want to point out is we go into Saturday morning, and what you just saw there from one frame to the next was a cold front that's dropping down the area. And what that does, it creates an avenue of southwesterly nocturnal jets. So what nocturnal jets are is during the daytime you have latent heat that's stored aloft, and at nighttime it starts to settle down to the surface. It does an inversion of what's going on aloft and sort of lets the warm come down to the surface and the cold go back aloft as it naturally should. It's nature, it's the atmosphere's natural balancing process. So what that does is it creates warm winds that increase through the night. And a lot of times they can be stronger in the nighttime than in the daytime. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I'm really thinking that we may not be very strong winds, maybe just modest, but enough to do the race, right? And that's what we're looking for. If we look at the NAM 12 kilometer, watch these time frame stamps. This is 18Z on Friday. Remember, that's UTC time, so we're 4 hours back at 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock p.m. Good Lord, I'm starting to get my time zones mixed up. So this is 2 o'clock p.m., right? Showing 6 knots southwest. I think it's going to probably be more like south or south-southwest. As we get later, 21Z, that's 5 o'clock p.m. We're looking like it's starting to increase. We're seeing those diurnal sea breezes build up late afternoon to evening, right? And then what we see, the NAM 12 is starting to sniff this out. As we get to 8 o'clock p.m., the nocturnal jets start coming up. So it looks like we're getting into 9, 10, maybe 11 knots. And this continues through the night all the way through, this is 3 in the morning, 11 p.m. that night, and then we're getting up to 9, 10, 11 knots. And then it starts to shift. So what we tend to see with nocturnal jetting is that the winds do veer southwest to west southwest through the night, and so that tends to happen. So that could be good for the course because then you're going straight downwind up the coast, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I mean, last year I think we were dealing with some northeasterlies or east northeast winds. This time, if we get that backwind right to set us straight up the rum line, right, that's going to set right to Georgetown. So that's a good favorable wind to have. And I'm really kind of looking at the NAM 12 right now for this. And as we get closer into time, I might be looking at the NAM 3 when that comes into the resolution frames. And so that's kind of my thinking for right now. It looks like we have a westerly wind, just real light stuff. In fact, we look at visible satellite. This has been our telltale for quite some time with all the rains and storms and just clouds streaming over. And you know, I mentioned that the frontal activity is going to start to weaken, and I'm still holding on my guns on that. So, but if we look at Chutes Folly and we look at the tide, we look at Thursday's tide. So we have a high tide at 721, low tide at 119. So for most of the race starts, they're going to be on an incoming tide. So high tide's at, looks like, I'm sorry, whoa, let me back up to Friday. Good Lord. High tide's 804, low tide 202. and then high tide is at 8:22 p.m. So it's going to be on an incoming tide. The early starters at 1400, 1600 are going to see some of the stronger speeds at the currents, right? So we're expecting currents to be about 1.7 knots at 5:12 p.m. So that's what you're going to be facing on an incoming tide through the jetties. So if the winds are a little bit on the light side, you're hoping that you're going to get a little bit of a bump to get across that current, and that's going to cause a little bit of lag. So just caution there to get through the jetties is that you're going to have an incoming tide through those jetties facing you with a south wind that's not going to be the strongest. Now, as we get a little bit later, 5, 6 o'clock, those sea breezes do come up. There'll be a lot more help to get across the water. So I just wanted to point that out. Rain chances, let's take a look. This is 2 o'clock p.m. Friday. We get to 5 o'clock. Looks like a lot of the storm activity for the NAM 12s is not the best precip model. And as we get into Thursday, I'll probably have a better idea of what this is going to look like as far as precip goes. But it looks really spotty through the day. And then, early Saturday morning, we start to see some of those nocturnal showers occur. And this is as far out as the model goes. So NAM 12 only goes out to 6Z Saturday, which is 2 a.m. for precip. I don't want to put anything else up in precip because it's going to be higher margin of error with a low resolution forecast. So anyways, bottom line is it looks like we're pretty good. There may be some showers, isolated showers, and convective cumuliform clouds offshore to deal with in the overnight hours into Saturday morning as you get up to Georgetown. So that's it in a nutshell for that. If we look at the nearshore wave prediction system, I'm just going to pick the Capers nearshore buoys as a point of reference because there's really no other data out there to pull or interpolate from. I could go all the way out to Edisto, but that's probably not going to be indicative of where you may go unless you're going to be going, if you're going the rum line, you probably won't need to go that far out, but let's just pick this spot right here for the forecast. It looks like we're going to be, just like what I talked about last night on the 26th, we're going to be right out about 6 to 7 seconds, and the wave heights would be about 1.5 to 2 feet, so maybe closer to 2 feet. If those winds come up, you might get a little bit of a tertiary swell from the southwest that gives a little chop, but then again, if we're only talking 10, 12 knots, won't be that much, and that'll be more of an east-southeast swell, just so you know. So east-southeast at about 6 seconds and 1.5 to 2 feet offshore, near 5 nautical miles, 5 to 10 nautical miles. Let's take a look at the air temperatures, and things look really comfortable from Friday to Saturday. Not much change in temperature. We got about 86 degrees for a high on Friday, 86 for a high on Saturday, low 70s for lows overnight, and very comfortable. Water temperatures right around 82 to 83 degrees out there, so it looks pretty good. If you haven't taken a look at the CORA website, this is awesome. They've added more features. They added wave buoys out here to they added a wind buoy, right? They did one for wind and temperature and all this, and then they added a wave buoy to the CHR 60 wave, and then also the Nearshore Capers buoy. They also popped a little wave buoy out there too. So these are good for reference. If you ever want to see for yourself kind of what the real-time data is showing, you can definitely go here and find out what it is. So really good source of information, fairly recent actually. So it's really good data to plug our immediate coastline and not just offshore to about 5 to 18 nautical miles in the very least. So other than that, I think that's going to be it for this forecast. And keep your plans, like I say, always keep your plans to sail. Looks like things are a little more optimistic. I'm going to be seeing if the NAM 3 and others jump in on the nocturnal jet and get up over 10 knots at night. That's what we want. We want something to that effect to give purpose to getting up the coast overnight and getting to the finish. So, all right, everybody, I will be back on tomorrow night, and then I'll see everyone at the Skippers meeting on Thursday at the Charleston Yacht Club. So see you then. Until next time, take care and keep your fingers crossed. See ya.